Hey tankers, and welcome to World of Tanks with PR154, where we are on mines following Preditor1 of the GSL clan in the Tier 8 German tank destroyer, the Ferdinand. This is one of two tank destroyers on the German tech tree. They both have the same gun, the 128mm main armament. Fantastic weapon for its tier. You've got 246mm of penetration on the standard rounds, and that cranks up to 311mm with the premium stuff. So the gun will still hold up even against sort of tier 9 and 10 opponents. The differences between the two vehicles are a little bit more stark from there. So Ferdinand is built on the Tiger Porsche chassis, whereas Jagdpanther is built on the Panther chassis, which is a medium tank. So as a result, Jagdpanther 2 has got a lower base of hit points. So it's got I think 1150 hit points, whereas this is carrying 1500 hit points. Very handy to have. It's also a lot slower. Top speed of Ferdinand is 30 kilometers per hour, whereas you get 55 kilometers per hour out of Jagdpanther 2. The armor layout is also quite different as well. Ferdinand is constructed frontally of 200mm plate, which holds up quite nicely under most circumstances against same tier vehicles. Now there's a little bit of angle in the casemate. It gives you 210mm. The casemate armor on Jagdpanther 2 is actually a little bit better. It's made of 150mm plate, but is much better angled. So you get 250 to 255mm effective armor with the upper casemate of Jagdpanther 2. Unfortunately, the rest of the hull is just not as well armoured as you get with Ferdinand. So unless you're fighting from a hull down position, the tank is a lot less forgiving. So I guess at same tier vehicles, this has enabled Preditor1 to be playing a little bit closer to the action, less chance of the shell dispersing somewhere where it's not too helpful, and thus far has been able to amass over 2,000 hit points of damage upon enemy vehicles. We're just looking for a killing shot on the IS-6, unfortunately just missed out there, but fortunately followed up by the teammate in the T-28 prototype. So we see we've got the Emil-1 working the ridge behind us. The Emil-1 fighting from its absolute optimal fighting position, hull down. So accordingly, we have loaded the gold, and the penetration indicator is telling us that we're going to find a bit of purchase in the turret of the Emil-1, the Emil 1951 rather. So I mean, these are the situations where loading gold is a conscious tactical decision. It's very much a point of pride for a lot of players to say, "Oh, well, I'd never shoot gold." But in this situation, what else is Preditor1 supposed to do in the 30? It only has a 30 kilometer per hour top speed, so flanking the Emil-1 is not really an option. There are unaccounted for tank destroyers through the back line, so pushing in and soaking up a heap of fire to get a standard AP round to penetrate the hull, also not a very sensible option. So this is a situation where Preditor1 has brought the right tools for the job to the fight, and use them economically, and also use them sensibly. So scores are looking quite positive for Predator's team. They are ahead by 5 tanks now, and the enemy hit point pool is roughly, I'd say, 40% of Preditor1's at this point in time. So doing quite nicely. This is a significant factor in this is probably the fact that they'd taken and held the hill, and that's enabled them to develop crossfires in virtually every direction. It is very much the most important position to take on the mine's map. I guess the north side deployment is rumoured to have a slightly easier time of it. I haven't actually seen the data on it. I go up there whether I'm north or south spawn under most circumstances, so I can't say I've really noticed myself. But importantly, they were able to shut down the Lynx wheeled vehicle on its way up quite early in the game, and just take control of the map from there. So that was very helpful. Unfortunately, for Predator1's team, they have incurred a couple of losses, which has sort of brought their lead back to just 4 tanks. The vehicles left in the field there, they are predominantly the tank destroyers. We can see that the T-28 is playing from the hull down position here. Of course, moving up like this, it does have its risks. From the K line, most of the tank destroyers can spot what comes over this hill in their own right, and the Ferdinand is a bit of a big and obvious target. Concealment values are not its strong points, and I guess while Predator1 is playing to avoid gunfire from this sort of area, we can also see the defender creeping up on Predator1's left flank, and is able to land a penetrating hit into the Ferdinand. Fortunately, the defender is one-shottable for Predator, so if he's able to get another shot in before they reload, they're able to knock the defender out. They're actually able to bounce that shot from the defender, which is using every bit of the fantastic armor available on the Ferdinand. Worth noting, you get 80mm of side armor on this as well, so there's not much in the game that's going to be able to, nothing in the game that's going to be able to overmatch that armor. So at a pinch, you can side scrape and angle and bait shots and all those good things, which is very helpful. But you can also angle that 200mm frontal plate as well, and just try to get a little bit more effective thickness out of that armor. We're continuing to take fire from the tank destroyers at the back. We've bounced more shots from both the Rheinmetall Borsig Waffenträger and the Stridsvagn S1, but they were able to knock out the T-28 that was operating a bit closer to this hull down position here, and thus giving Predator1 a bit more free rein to advance. Unfortunately, the Stridsvagn S1 has found a bit of purchase in the armor, but penetration is very much the strong suit of the Tier 8 premium Swedish tank destroyer. So moving into close, this is potentially a little bit of a risky move because we don't know where the T-28 prototype is pointed. It may have been able to come around the rocks and shoot the Ferdinand in the side from a position of soft cover. Unfortunately for them, they were, and quite fortunately for Predator1, they were looking off to the north, the Indian Panzer and the Basante C-45. So moving on the Stridsvagn S1, Predator1 is one-shottable to the Stridsvagn, but is able to proximity spot the Stridsvagn here. Can we get a shot in? No, unfortunately we bounce. We bounced that time, but fortunately effective crossfire from Predator1's teammates is able to knock out the Stridsvagn, which just leaves the T-28 prototype left in the game. Now they've been spotted, possibly that was a proximity spot by the Indian Panzer, but they are very much focused on the Basante C-45 that's headed in their direction, and fortunately Predator1 is able to get a nice meaty hit into its rear. And that's the last enemy tank destroyed. Victory for Predator1 of the Great Southern Land Clan. So let's take a look at the results. So a very well-deserved Ace Mastery badge for Predator1 of the Great Southern Land Clan in the Tier 8 Tech Tree German tank destroyer, the Ferdinand. We've also picked up the High Calibre Epic Medal for accounting for at least 20% of the hit point pool of the enemy team. We've also picked up a few badges of merit here as well. Shellproof for having damage blocked exceeding the hit points of the vehicle, which is not the most straightforward thing to do with the Ferdinand with such a high hit point pool, 1500 hit points, on account of the fact that it's built on a Porsche Tiger chassis. We've also picked up the Duelist medal for destroying 2 enemy vehicles that had caused damage to them, in which case this is 3 enemy vehicles killed in total this game, and of course the Fire for Effect medal for doing at least your hit points in damage, which with nearly 5,000 hit points inflicted on the enemy team, unfortunately have just missed out by the slimmest of margins on picking up a personal campaign mission for the Object 260, but that's all right. Better luck next time. If you're achieving these sorts of results at Tier 8, I have complete confidence in you knocking this one over at Tiers 9 or 10. Having a look at the team scores, very convincing top on experience placement. Actually outstripped the teammates by quite a significant margin. Having a look at the detailed report, we see this has been a reasonably profitable game. That's thanks in part to knocking over must have been one of the daily missions there. We've also had a battle payments booster running as well. Unfortunately, without these 2 boosters and running a standard account, the credit yield's probably been around the 13,000 credits mark, which Predator1 probably has every right to feel a little bit robbed over. But I guess that comes with the territory and the nature of this particular game economy. So very well done there to Predator1 of the Great Southern Land Clan. And if you've got a result that you'd like to share with the community, please reach out over Discord or any of the links below, and we'll do our best to sort you out. Now, I do have absolute fistful of replays at the moment from the community that'll take me up to the end of December. Only having time to record twice a week, I do have to be a little bit selective. But in any case, the criteria I typically look for is we want to see a win, because everyone likes a happy ending. I prefer bottom tiered replays, and granted that can be difficult to do when you're top tiered, but I do love to see an underdog succeed on the channel, preferably in the sort of games where it's not sort of a 15-5 ruffle stomp, but of course acknowledging sometimes it's difficult to kick over those difficult personal campaign missions where you are fighting from bottom tiered, or where it isn't a bit of a walkover of the enemy team. So if you do manage to knock over some of these difficult personal campaign missions, we'd love to feature them on the channel as well. In the meantime, take care out there.